this is very interesting as we pick up right now because, one, it has come in as a relief in terms of the moratorium. It's just delayed by, what, another 5 years. I think the major relief was a complete waiver, and I think that's what the street is not happy about, right?
That's right. It is way short of what the street was expecting in terms of the AGR waiver. And it was looking for a waiver, not pushing the can down the hill to a later date. Now, these 5 years and 10 years of moratorium at different stages that has been given by the government is coming in a relief in terms of the payment and cash outgo by Vodafone Idea at the present stage. But remember that that particular provision for the debt that lies and the liability that lies after the moratorium in itself puts a pressure on the company. So this particular relief is way short of what the market was expecting in terms of waiver. We need to get more details from the cabinet meeting at 3 p.m. But also remember, Indus Tower, that particular stock has also come under pressure, because remember that Indus Tower's business is also aligned with at least 3 telecom players being healthy and working in the country. The government has had the intention of 3 companies in the telecom sector, but that needs to be looked at. So, Swapnil, how do you really assess the kind of balancing act that has been done by the government? Because here again, it's not just about Vodafone Idea. Bharti Airtel also has AGR dues, and any precedents and waiver in this particular company would have set a precedent and would have given Bharti Airtel an ammunition to go ahead and ask for waiver as well. How do you put all that into context?
Nisha, excellent question. This is exactly what I was afraid of. You waive a big juggernaut, running into tens of thousands of crores because you've got some stake or whatever your internal calculations are. Now, I don't want to speculate on what those calculations could be. It could be internal jostling, internal lobbying. I have no idea. And I don't want to comment and speculate on that. But I'm sure these things, you don't get 5 years moratorium just because you're good at your job or because you have a reputation in the market. I'm sure there are certain strings attached to that. Now, Bharti Airtel is also going to say, well, you did this for them, why don't you do this for us? And if they don't do it, if the government doesn't do it, then it invites another litigation. So they're going to go to the Supreme Court saying that there is discrimination that has taken place. The state has discriminated or the union government has discriminated. It violates Article 14 of the Constitution, so we are equal because we are the same service providers and we are at the competitive space. So one company has got a huge relief. And what are we? Why should we be left behind? Now, how the government does it, that's up to the government. But I'm sure the Bharti Airtel will come knocking at its doors for the same thing, to give us some sort of a relief or some sort of a moratorium. I'm not saying that what the government has done for Vodafone is a bad thing. All I'm trying to say is that the government has to be prepared, because ultimately when you waive off or when you give a moratorium on such a huge amount, basically what you're trying to do is you are trying to burden the taxpayer. We've got a budget coming up in the next 2 months. Now, I hope that this huge amount of tens of thousands of crores does not in some way subtly figure or configure into some sort of a tax increase in our space as individuals.
So, Swapnil, I completely take your point in terms of, what will happen to the other incumbents. But this was something which was very much well known, that the government is looking at a relief package when it comes to Vodafone Idea. Next steps was something very different. Right now, the conversation that we're having is what has come in for a Vodafone One, what next? Because right now we're just talking about a schedule which is now moved from FY26 to FY31, what Vodafone was supposed to pay in that time frame. It goes from FY31 for the next 10 years.